Welcome to the Google Cloud update for the week of the 13th of July, 2026. Today is Friday, July 17th, 2026, and we have an absolute powerhouse of an episode for you. This week, Google Cloud has unleashed a wave of updates, and we are going to dive into all of them. In today's episode, we will cover critical GKE cluster and container mesh updates and look at how Google is preparing for future quantum threats with post-quantum cryptography in Cloud KMS. We will also explore database security improvements, including parameterized secure views in Cloud SQL for MySQL, programmatically querying big table health via model context protocol tools, and BigQuery's massive analytical updates, including an incredibly powerful new generative aggregation function called AIGG. Plus, we will run through a major security patch for repositories, look at the latest Gemini Enterprise platform features, and cover some key service renames. Let's jump right in. Let's start off with the infrastructure side of things, specifically Google Kubernetes Engine and container management. In GKE, Kubernetes version 1.36 is now the default version for cluster creation in the Rapid channel. Alongside this, Google has made a default integration change. Starting late June, the File Store API is now automatically enabled whenever you enable the Kubernetes Engine API in a project. This is a very welcome convenience because File Store is required for GKE persistent volumes using the read-write-many access mode. No more heading manual enabling roadblocks there. If you are running GKE Data Plane v2 with version 1.35.1 or later, you should pay close attention. These clusters now use CNI version 1.1.0 in their configuration files. This means downstream CNI plugins must be fully compatible with version 1.1.0. If you are using self-managed open source Istio or in-cluster unmanaged cloud service mesh, you must manually upgrade your mesh CNI version to 1.23. If you do not do this, your nodes might fail to reach a ready state and throw network plugin not ready errors. And trust me, nobody wants to deal with that on a Monday morning. Speaking of Cloud Service Mesh, there is an important patch release out. In-cluster Cloud Service Mesh version 1.29.5 ASM12 is now available. This release contains fixes for a critical platform vulnerability tracked under CVE 2026-46595, which carries a maximum severity score of 10.0. Make sure you get that patch applied. In serverless container news, Cloud Run has officially moved its support for importing public container images from GitHub Container Registry into general availability. Additionally, there are a bunch of new permissions supported in Cloud Run custom roles. You can now define highly specific custom roles with permissions to create, delete, list, update, and invoke instances, including the Run Instances Invoke permission under the Cloud Run Invoker role. Finally, Cloud Deploy is updating its execution engine. The Cloud Deploy image is transitionally shifting to a Google-specific fork of Scaffold. This means when you run descriptions or look at your releases in the console, the version will now be shown as CD Scaffold instead of a traditional version number. Now, let's pivot to security, identity, and data governance, where we have a massive announcement for future-proofing your systems. Cloud KMS, our key management service, now supports post-quantum cryptographic signing algorithms in general availability. As quantum computing advances, traditional cryptographic signatures will eventually become breakable. To prevent future decryption and spoofing threats, Google is introducing advanced algorithms like ML-DSA and SLH-DSA. This ensures that your digital signatures remain secure long into the future, providing peace of mind for high security and compliant architectures. Over in Developer Connect, Google is stepping up the security posture for repository connections. When you create, or update repository connections using GitLab Enterprise or Bitbucket Data Center, Developer Connect will now perform authorization checks on both the calling principal and the service agent. Previously, it only checked the service agent's credentials. Enforcing authorization on both ensures strict adherence to the security principle of least privilege. In other security news, Sensitive Data Protection has rolled out its crime status info type detector globally across all regions. There is also an update to how the medical ID info type operates. If you leave the version configuration unset or set it to stable, Sensitive Data Protection will now include medical record numbers under the medical ID type in your scan results. If you need to retain the legacy behavior, you can pin your configuration to the legacy version for the next 90 days. For security operations teams, Chronicle, which is now Google SecOps, has launched advanced filtering in dashboards in public preview. This feature lets analysts define token variables to dynamically inject values, complex regular expressions, or Boolean logic directly into YARA-L queries at runtime. It's incredibly useful for filtering dashboards dynamically without modifying the underlying queries. To wrap up this segment, Secret Manager has introduced parameter templates in preview, allowing you to define standardized configuration blueprints and safely swap environment-specific variables during deployment. And Knowledge Catalog, which is the new name for Dataplex, has officially moved several entry group permissions to general availability, giving you GA-level control over schema joins and description. Next, let's look at the database and data migration updates, starting with a brilliant new feature in Cloud SQL from MySQL. Currently in preview, you can now create and query parameterized secure views in Cloud SQL for MySQL 8.0.43 and later. Now, why is this exciting? Well, if you are building generative AI applications or agentic experiences using natural language to SQL, there is always a danger of prompt injection attacks, where a user might manipulate the prompt to trick the model into returning sensitive database rows. Parameterized secure views prevent this by letting you create database views that reference session variables. You pass these security-critical parameters, like user ID or region, separately from the query execution. This guarantees deterministic, auditable security at the database level, ensuring application users can only access the precise rows they are authorized to see, no matter how they frame their natural language query. Over in Bigtable, AI agents can now use the List Hot Tablets Model Context Protocol, or MCP, tool, which is now generally available. This allows your AI agents to programmatically query Bigtable cluster health, to isolate performance-intensive hot tablets, and detect overutilized node CPUs. It's a fantastic feature for automated operations and infrastructure management. For enterprise workloads, Oracle Database at Google Cloud now supports cloning for autonomous AI databases in general availability. You can quickly spin up full metadata or refreshable clones using the Google Cloud CLI and API. And on the migration side, the Database Migration Service agent role has been updated with several AlloyDB and Cloud SQL backup and restore permissions. DataStream's admin role has been updated to include Cloud KMS key handles permissions, and they have made the derive destination schema permission generally available. Now let's talk about BigQuery, analytics, and data operations, starting with some massive new features in BigQuery. First, BigQuery now supports data governance tags in preview. These are resource manager tags that you can attach directly to sensitive columns and use within BigQuery data policies to enforce column-level security and data masking, making access management incredibly clean. But the big highlight this week is the preview of the AI AGG function in conversational analytics. As part of Gemini and BigQuery, conversational analytics is also now HIPAA compliant. This new AI AGG function is highly exciting. While BigQuery already has AI functions that analyze individual rows of data, analyzing unstructured data at scale is incredibly hard. AI AGG lets you run natural language aggregation instructions over millions of rows of unstructured or multimodal data inside a single line of SQL. Think of having thousands of logs or customer feedback files. Instead of writing complex, multi-level batching logic, the AI AGG function automatically batches the data, sends it to a Vertex Gemini model, and returns a single, synthesized string answer per group. Let's pause for a critical security advisory. A missing authorization vulnerability, tracked under Security Bulletin GCP 2026-047, has been successfully patched by Google. This vulnerability affected repository creation in BigQuery, Dataform, and Colab Enterprise, which could have allowed an authenticated attacker to perform a cross-tenant repository takeover. Thankfully, Google has already deployed the fix to all regions, so no customer action is required. Moving on to BigQuery infrastructure, table partitioning, multi-statement transactions, and advanced runtime are now generally available for Apache Iceberg managed tables. BigQuery Reservation Management has introduced project caps in preview, allowing you to limit maximum slots and concurrency per project. The BigQuery Migration Service MCP server is now GA, enabling automated SQL translation tasks. The BigQuery overview page is GA, offering guides and tutorials for all skill levels, and Salesforce data transfers now support incremental loads in GA. Lastly, search index updates just got easier. You can now use the alter search index DDL statement to update the configuration of a search index in preview. In Looker news, Looker Google Cloud Core is beginning its rollout of Looker version 26.12 in the Rapid channel and version 26.10 in the regular channel. Additionally, BigQuery sharing via the Analytics Hub has introduced custom role support for query template management. For Spark workloads, Managed Service for Apache Spark, which is the new name for Dataproc on Compute Engine and Google Cloud Serverless for Apache Spark, has updated its clusters. Image versions 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 now support confidential compute on standard G4 standard 48 GPU machine types. For serverless deployments, the Spark 3.0 runtime executor allocations have been optimized, and scheduler listener bus timeouts have been set to 30 seconds. And if you are running Managed Service for Apache Airflow, formerly known as Cloud Composer, there is a memory usage warning. In Gen 3 environments running Airflow 2.1.1.1, the web server now requires at least 3 gigabytes of memory. If your web server has less than that, you might experience intermittent out-of-memory issues. So make sure to adjust your preset scaling to at least 3 gigabytes. To wrap up this segment, Cloud Data Fusion version 6.11.4 is generally available, introducing fixes for premature Dataproc job cancellations, pipeline page hangs, and log download path validations. To finish up our episode, let's cover updates on enterprise agent platforms, workspace, and business operations. First up, a quick reminder. Vertex AI is now officially known as the Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform. Under this newly named platform, the Agent Platform Workbench has rolled out its latest Debian 12 and Debian 11 images. The Debian 12 release resolves a broken CUPI installation, while the Debian 11 image fixes a race condition that could cause Jupyter Lab to be unreachable on GPU instances. Gemini Enterprise is also bringing major changes. Bring Your Own Identity, or BYOID, is now generally available for mobile apps, allowing enterprise users to log in securely using third-party identity providers without being on a manual allow list. Additionally, Notebook LM Enterprise has been officially rebranded as Gemini Notebook Enterprise. The API endpoints and backend functionality remain unchanged, but the new name will display across the web app and admin console. Gemini Enterprise is also rolling out new data stores in public preview, including AWS Marketplace, AllTrails, and Twilio Docs, and introducing automated actions such as updating tickets in Zoho Desk and Freshservice. Lastly, the standalone idea generation agent is being retired. If you need to brainstorm, you can do so directly using the standard Gemini Enterprise Chat Assistant, or use Deep Research and Co-Scientist agents for advanced exploration. In our customer experience space, Google Cloud Contact Center as a Service, or CCAAS, has a pre-release update for the Agent Assist Hub. This unified panel combines generative knowledge assist and coaching features. Just a quick heads up, when this auto updates, active agents will need to sign out and sign back in to reload the new Knowledge Assist module. Finally, in billing and operations, Cloud Billing has replaced the traditional invoices page with a customizable real-time payment status page for accounts paid by invoice. And Chrome Enterprise Browser release notes have permanently moved over to chromeenterprise.google. So update your bookmarks. And that's a wrap for this week's Google Cloud Update. From GKE and Cloud Run updates to the arrival of post-quantum cryptography and BigQuery developments, there's a lot to dig into. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another dose of Google Cloud news.